One thing that I had to really work on in terms of dating and like is actually a skill is physical escalation. But today I wanted to share some physical escalation hacks that you guys can start doing immediately. And the reason, like I said, I know these hacks is because I really had to work on my physical escalation. I will have great conversation. I'm really good at building sexual tension and, just finding good conversation between us. But when it came to escalating, that's where I just really struggled. And I think it was a lack of confidence and a just fear of potential rejection. And that's the thing with escalation, is that sort of how it's represented in the movies is kind of abrupt, how it just kind of just leads into the kiss, or it just happens, right? And in some cases, a lot of cases, once you spend enough time together and you're comfortable, it definitely can just happen. But as a guy, especially starting from date one, you need to be the one who is physically escalating and pushing the threshold forward. So sometimes if you want things to happen faster, you can't wait for it to happen naturally, because that might be date 5, date 6, date 7. So in this video, I want to show you some of the hacks that I've learned. We're gonna go with 3 within like a first date sort of time period. And then the other 3 is gonna be once she's at your place. So the first 3 are just basically escalation to make her comfortable with you and to potentially lead to a kiss. Then the next 3 is once she's actually at your place, once again to lead to the kiss, but this is more to actually lead towards sex in itself. Now, some of these you probably heard before, but if you haven't, the first one we're gonna discuss is commenting on her nails or jewelry within conversation. So this is something that I always love to do, and I kind of just tease at the same time. So during conversation, it could be like a dead point in the conversation, I might grab her hand and comment on her nails, only if they're done though. And especially if it's a color that I'm familiar with or recognize, I will try and guess the color. I'll be like, oh, I see you got funny buddy today. And only girls know what funny buddy color is. So it's almost like a tease or something like that. Or if their nails are not done, comment on her jewelry. But when you comment on it, you need to actually touch her. That's the whole purpose of this, is you're making conversation while touching her. And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal at first, but this is almost subconscious. It's like a subconscious like signal that she's getting comfortable with your touch. So you touched her finger, you touched her arm, or oh, let me see your bracelet. Oh, that's a nice Cuban you got there. Where'd you get that from? But you're like kind of grabbing their hand at the same time. You guys have probably done this before. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it, but point is, integrate this within like a first date conversation, just to subtly build the touch all the way up. Next one is the hand around the shoulder move. If you're at a point to where you're walking, especially near the middle or the end of the date, so you guys have talked with each other and you've gotten pretty comfortable, always go for the arm wrap around. Always, guys. Trust me, it'll make her a lot more comfortable with your touch, especially if you smell good too. And then also it's a good sign if she kind of wraps her arm right around your waist back. But the only con with this is that you need to make sure that you're significantly taller than her. Otherwise it's going to be like kind of awkward. So ideally you want to be at least 3 to 4 inches taller than her in order for this to work. But that's also why on our first date, you want to make sure that you're in a place to where you can just walk around. I enjoy going to a bar, but also I'm in an environment, an area where we can walk, maybe walk and go to a park bench. It's just a walkable area. So in between those times walking, I'll kind of put my arm around her. And here's another thing that I do too that I never mentioned. So I'll put my arm around her, but I'm not clinging onto her. So I'll probably do it for like 30 seconds. And then I'll act like I got to check something in my pocket. And then I'll keep walking and then I'll go do it again. So it's like a push-pull sort of technique where you're showing non-neediness, but at the same time, you're allowing her the touch and the comfort to build up slowly over time. You don't have to go that super advanced with the technique. I even do push-pull techniques whenever a girl's at my place. Sometimes I'll escalate a little bit, but then I'll pull back and completely retract and be completely just away from her. It kind of plays deeper into like the psychology of like, damn, is this guy interested? Or, he's showing interest and he's pushing it forward, but he's like not needy. Kind of makes them question themselves. Now, the next one is going to be a form adjustment. So this is a bit cliche. And for that reason, I sometimes hate doing it. But in some cases, you're playing pool, you're playing darts, you're playing some sort of game to where you're actually good at and you don't suck at. You can adjust her form to kind of show her like the right way to do things. So for example, I've gotten pretty good at darts, guys. I've been on a few dart days to where it's at the point where I'm hitting bullseye literally every time I play, or at least I'm getting damn near close to it. But the girls I'm with, you know, they're throwing that shit. They're hitting off the dartboard. So what I do is that, you know, after I beat them in a round or so, the next round, I'll be like, okay, I have to show you. Let me show you real quick. So what you're gonna do is, and I'll get behind them, offset your feet a little bit. Now, are you keeping both eyes open or are you closing one eye? Okay, make sure you close one eye, you close your good eye, pretend like you're shooting a gun. And then you wanna have a 90-degree at your elbow. So I'll touch your elbow like right here, and then follow through with it, right? Try that motion right there. So the whole time I'm critiquing and guiding them, showing them forward tips, but also I'm touching them at the same time. It's not sexual touches. It's not like invasive, long per hold touches. I'm literally just like touching their elbow, lifting it up, kind of touching the waist at the same time, kind of touching their knees to show how to stance their feet, you know, stuff like that. So you can only do this once again if you're good at the game that you're doing. If the girl is whooping your ass or something, then chances are you're not going to be able to integrate a strategy like this. But this is a pretty cliche one, but it works so well in terms of building up, you know, the level of comfort and the escalation ladder leading up to like a kiss if you wanted to do that. Personally, I do not go for the kiss if we're out on a first date. I only go for a kiss if we're in a place where I can actually lead towards sex. And that brings me to my next hacks, is which if she's at your place. So for example, either she came over with no dates, which I've been on a ton over the past few years, or you put her back to your place on a date. So you escalated on the first date and now she's like sitting on your couch. What do you do from here? I'm gonna show you some escalation tactics that you can also do in this scenario, because sometimes girls make it easy for you, but sometimes they do not. I'm sure you guys have been in cases where a girl was either very shy, she was kind of like interested in you, but like her body language is off to where it makes it very difficult for you to escalate. You know, a girl you had a good first date with, she comes over now, but she's sitting on the couch like all the way back here, has her body turned towards you. Like she's putting you in a position to where it makes it very difficult for you to escalate. So try these next 3 out, it will definitely help out. So the first hack is a cell phone hack. The cell phone hack is used to close the distance. So what you're gonna do is, for example, if a girl's like kind of sitting like this on the couch, she's kind of like angled towards you, you know, literally what I just said, bring up a conversation to where either she has to show you something on her phone or you want to show her something on your phone. So what this is going to do is close the gap, guys, because now in order for her to see something on your phone, you either have to get closer to her or she has to come more towards you and you show her. So a way that you can easily do this is by, you know, changing the song up, letting her know, oh, what's your favorite artist? Show me on Spotify, like come here, like show me on, you know, and she types in the artist and we go through the catalog of songs. Or maybe she's telling me a story or I'm telling her a story and then I say, show me a picture of it. So from there, she'll grab out her phone and then from there I can close the distance and close the gap. This works very well and I use it strategically in a lot of cases to where I need to close that gap without voicing that I want to close the gap. In some cases, this is rare cases though, I'll be like, yo, why are you sitting so far? Like, come over here. Like I would do something like that, but this is more of just a natural way to close the gap, because once you actually bring her closer through looking at the cell phone, she'll usually just stay there. And now from there, you can put your arm around her, you know, in that position and just make it more comfortable for both of you. Whereas before she was kind of like sitting back on the couch and looking super uncomfortable. The second hack to close the gap is to actually get up, do something. Then when you come back to sit down, just sit closer. So usually when you first sit down on a couch, you know, once again, she's all the way over here. You might purposely like kind of sit far away from her just to make it more comfortable. But after you've spoken with her for about 20 minutes or so, and you guys are like clearly comfortable having good conversation, go up, get some water, or go to the bathroom even. Then when you come sit down, you just sit slightly closer to her. So that's another way of just closing the gap that isn't really conscious or people really don't even notice. I've done this plenty of times, especially whenever I'm with really shy girls who like have trouble making a move. And then from there, when I sit closer to her, that's when I'll probably integrate like the cell phone move once again. And then from there, when she's close to me, I can wrap my arms around her. From there, I can fully physically escalate. That's the time frame when I usually tend to escalate, guys, is my arm is usually wrapped around her. And that's where I'm close enough to her to where I can just lean in for a kiss if I wanted to. Or I can verbally escalate. I can be like, oh, I really want to kiss you right now. And then I just lean in and I do it. But the point is, I always try to get to a point where she's close enough to me and my arm is wrapped around her. That has been the most natural way for me to escalate whenever a woman is at my place. And using these closing the gap strategies will actually allow you to do that. Now, the last escalation hack, and this one necessarily isn't for closing the gap, but this one's more for just building comfort and just having like a fun vibe. Then from there, just easily escalating through this. And that is using a card game. There are so many dating card games now that make it so easy for you to escalate if you're, playing the right game. So for example, this one's called Drunk in Love. It's an X-rated couples drinking game. So you can do this like with a glass of wine or like liquor if you guys are drinking, whatever. But the point is, you take out the cards and for example, this one says, drink if you ever wanted a hookup to end. Accurately explain where the clit is or drink. Drink if you like it rough. Tell your partner what you want to do to them later. Drink if you ever sit nude to a partner. Kiss your partner's ass or finish the drink. You don't actually have to kiss your partner's ass. But in the moment, I'll joke like I'm going to do it. Or like, it's just a playful way to like escalate, and throughout the time I'm touching them. Also, this is a natural way to like sort of verbally escalate this conversation more towards sex topics, which from there makes it more comfortable for you to actually escalate from a physical standpoint. I really only bring out card games like this, and this is the only one I have, to be honest, when the girl is really closed off. I'm talking like she's like super shy, super anxious. Like, it's been rare cases where I had to do this, but every time I brought it out, it has worked immensely, because by the time we're done with this, like they're warmed up, they're comfortable. We done talked about like sex topics a lot, and from there I can integrate these other tactics and just fully physically escalate if I wanted to. All right, so guys, try out those physical escalation hacks. Trust me, in the moment, it's gonna make a big difference. And let me know what else you have done down below in the comments that have actually worked. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.